Someone always finds the dirt and airs out the laundry. That's why any and everything I've ever done, I'd rather you ask me.
All right. Hi, everybody. I am back. This hair on my face. Hi, everybody. I am back for another video. This video is kind of it's like a two-piece really to the Leave Me Alone video. But if you didn't watch it, that's fine. Because technically, really don't have to watch that video in order to understand what's going on in this one. So anyway, I went and got my nails done on Friday, right before the Post Malone concert. And as soon as I got my nails done, I left it was an Asian guy, and I gave him a tip. And there was one person that did my feet and one person that did my hands. But the guy that did my feet was a younger guy, which I mentioned in the Leave Me Alone video. And so when I left out, I feel like I'm a really good tipper. Like, you know, you have some people that they leave a couple dollars for a tip, or some people might not leave a tip at all, but I find myself to be a really good tipper just because I like to give to people. So if I'm gonna give, I'm like, I wanna give and I wanna make it count. So I gave them both a pretty decent tip. And then I ended up dropping my phone accidentally while I was walking out the door. So I bent down and picked up the phone. And there was a black lady who was sitting, she was waiting to get her nails done. And I guess she was watching them. And so I'm going out the door because my mom came to get me, or me and my mom were there together. And I had to get to another appointment like right after. Like I was right on top of my other appointment. So I was pretty much like rushing out the door. And then this black lady that was sitting there waiting to get her nails done, she runs out and she's like yelling at me, and she's like, don't worry, I'm fine. You know, I have people in my family that are in the military and they've got their masters and different things. Like she's rattling off like her family's credentials. Like, you know, don't worry, I'm not gonna harm you. Like I just wanted to say something to you really quickly. And I'm like, well, you didn't have to scream to me or yell. You don't have to yell to me about your family and their education to justify me stopping to talk to you. I'm like, okay, well, let me see what this lady wants because she's chasing me down out of the nail shop. So I'm like, okay, you know, hey, whatever. So then she starts talking and she's like, yeah, she's like, those Asian guys in the store, they were looking at you. And I'm thinking, okay, well, they probably were looking at me because I left a tip for them. So they're probably just talking about that. So, but she's just like, yeah. She's like, they were looking at you and they were something about them looking me up and down or something, whatever. And she's just like, yeah, you know, my son and my nephew, they married a woman from, well, one of them married a woman from Colombia. And I think she said she was like a nurse or something. And she's just like, yeah, you know, I was married to a black man and he was abusive to me, and I find that other races of men treat their women better. So that brings me to my shirt. So I'm wearing a black shirt with the pride colors on it. So black pride. So that's why I'm wearing this shirt. So she basically kind of took that conversation and then it just unfolded into like this hate or whatever for black men, because she's like, interracial's the way to go. My family, they've married into other races, and she's like, I was married to a black man and then we finally got a divorce, but I find that other men treat their women much better than black men do. So she's like, you ought to give it a chance or give it a try, you know, talk to the Asian guy and get to know him, I guess, and maybe date him. I'm not really sure. But that whole situation was very odd to me because nobody has ever approached me in public to try to give me that. Well, no one's ever approached me at all in public to give me dating advice, especially I don't know them. On top of the advice that they're giving me is don't date a black man. And I'm like, okay, well, I've dated several black men. I've been in relationships with black men. I've been in long-term relationships with black men. I also dated somebody that was not black. And out of all of those guys I dated, granted, it was only one non-black person that I dated. He was the one that was the most abusive to me. He was the one that put his hands on me. So I'm like, okay, well, you can tell me all you want that this black man that you married was abusive to you. Well, the guy that I was dating for almost 2 years, which I did a video about as well, But that guy that I dated, he was not a black man, but he put his hands on me. Nobody else put their hands on me. He is the only one that did. So I'm like, as much as you might have your own personal justification for dating somebody outside of your race, I don't have that same justification. And then it leads into the weekend. So during the weekend, I came across different black men that I came across. They were all respectful. However, this guy that she's like, oh yeah, you know, he's an Asian, he works hard, he does this, he does that, he'll take care of his woman, all this stuff. And then I actually had an experience with him later that is in the Leave Me Alone video. And that whole experience, not only was it odd and very strange, the interaction in and of itself, he was a cool person. Just being able to communicate, that was a little bit challenging. There was that little barrier that was there, or big barrier, however you want to see it, was a barrier there. And just the whole interaction was very odd, but you have to go to the Leave Me Alone video in order to understand what happened. But with the whole scenario, the whole thing that played out in that particular video, I can't see a black man doing that. Now, I don't mean to make this video, and no, well, first of all, I'll say this. In no way am I a person that is racist at all. I support dating whoever you want. I will date whoever I want. My main focus is basically, what is the person like? What is their personality? So I'm judging not based on the way a person looks, but based on their personality, and based on, are you able to take care of yourself? Like, I can take care of myself. Are you able to take care of yourself, or are you trying to be dependent on somebody else? I don't like a guy that's trying to be dependent on anybody else. And then, are you respectful, or are you somebody that I can trust? Are you trustworthy? Are you somebody that's respectful to other people? Are you somebody that I feel that I can respect, or are you somebody that I feel will be dishonest and untruthful with me? So it's a lot, I feel, that goes into dating, besides just saying, oh, well, don't date this race, or oh, don't date that race, or oh, date this race because they got money, or oh, date this race because of whatever reasons, whatever reasonings. Oh, this one, they're submissive to their husbands, or they're submissive to their wives, you know, different stuff like that. I feel like stereotypes just aren't good, period. But then to try to base your dating and interactions with people based off of stereotypes, I feel is very, not only is it inaccurate, but I feel that it's doing an injustice to the individual. So rather than you taking your time to get to know the person, you're basing your interactions with them according to some assumptions that you made, or based on something that you've read. Well, this person had this interaction with this race, or they've had this kind of interaction with a different race. So making a bunch of generalizations and stereotypes, I feel, is not a way to handle any kind of interpersonal relationships. Granted, I guess I am one to talk considering my job. If you are dating, thinking about dating, because I know it's very difficult in this day and age, considering that we cannot get to meet anybody in person. Sometimes you have a really good vibe online, on the internet, but then when you actually meet the person, the vibe is just slightly different, or the energy coming from them is slightly different, and you can't necessarily feel that through a screen or over a phone. I just felt that I would share this experience just because I thought that it was very odd. I feel that love has no color. I feel that love has no gender. So love who you love. As long as you love the person, who are we to question it? So as long as you love the person, and as long as you all are happy, there should not be any influence from the outside of us telling you, or of anyone else telling you what your relationship should be like, and who your relationship should be with, and who you should love. At the end of the day, love is love. And as long as you are happy, and as long as you love each other, and as long as the relationship is healthy, because that's one of the main things. The main thing is making sure that the relationship that you do have, that the relationship is healthy. That it's not one person that's giving and the other person, all they're doing is taking. With relationships are a give and take. So one person gives, somebody else takes, that person gives, the other person takes. It's not, always the same person constantly giving and somebody else taking. At that point, you're not only mooching, but you're also a leech, and you're also codependent. Nobody wants somebody that's codependent. If you're gonna be in a relationship, be with somebody that's independent. So you yourself need to be independent, and you need to love yourself before you can love anybody else. So love yourself before you love anybody else. If you get a codependent relationship, then that can lead to different situations such as domestic violence, because it's like, well, I can't leave him or I can't leave her. I can't take care of myself without them. So then it becomes a relationship where the person feels trapped, and you never want to be in a relationship where you're feeling trapped, because it never turns out good. It never bodes well for either party. So at the end of the day, make sure that you love yourself, you're independent, and make sure that the person that you get involved with is also independent. Get to know them, get to know their personality, get to know what they're like, understand how they treat their family, what's their family dynamic. Find out, you know, if you're a person you don't like kids or you don't want to have kids, then that's something you need to talk about. But coming out of the gate, which I did a video on this too, but coming out of the gate and asking somebody, what's your credit score? How much do you make? Personal questions like that, that is something that you can talk about, but that's not something you start out with. Like, as your relationship gets more serious, like let's say you've gotten to a point where you're talking about marriage, then you may want to start, or once you get to a point, you don't necessarily have to wait until you get ready to get married, because that takes a while sometimes. Sometimes it's quick, but a lot of times that is a slow process, and it's a timely process. But you don't want to start out with those questions. Those are questions that, because when you date, you can date several people. Once you get into a relationship, you're committed to that person. So dating and a relationship are two very different things, and I feel like that's something that I had to understand too. Because if you're dating, you can date several different people at the same time. But once you ask the person, you know, do you want to be in a relationship with me? And they say yes, at that point you cut off all the dates and you focus on that one person. The only person that you're dating is that one individual. And so, more or less, once you start forming a relationship with that person, as a relationship grows and develops, you begin to trust each other and you begin to get to know each other. Then at that point, you may want to start talking about different things like what's your credit score, and sharing credit score information, and maybe talking about salaries and different things like that. But that's not something that you start out with. You can start, maybe not the very first date, but after a couple of dates, you can start asking people, well, what's your insight on kids? Do you want kids? Do you not want kids? Do you want pets? Do you not want pets? That was one of my things. One of the guys that I had a serious relationship with, he did not like animals. And if I had a dog, because I wanted to get a dog, and he's like, well, if you get a dog, it's going to have to stay outside. And I'm like, well, with me, dogs are family. So I'm like, well, if I get a dog, it's going to have to stay in the house. Like and subscribe. Let me know if there is a specific topic that you all want to talk about. Let me know if you all have any personal questions for me. I will try to answer them. I don't mind answering personal questions. However, obviously at some point you have to draw a line, but ask the questions and I'll answer them the best I can. Might be politically correct, but either way, I will answer your questions. And maybe I can do like a Q&A video. And also, let me know down below in the comments if you all want to see me do another video with my mom. Maybe y'all can send it in and like my mom and I can answer them. Because I have, you know, sometimes you have life experiences and you can give advice based on life experiences. Some other people just have, they have the wisdom, because even though they never had that experience in their lives, they still have some valuable advice and valuable content that they can share with you. So if you guys have just general life-like questions that you guys want to ask, then obviously you can go ahead and ask us those, and I can do a video with her, and then we can just like pull random questions and answer them and just go from there. So that is the end of this video, and I want it to be like I am talking to you. So let's make this a conversation and let's not make this one-sided. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and we will get into the next video. I'm not quite sure what I have planned. Let me know if you have some dating advice that is valuable. I'm not really dating right now, but maybe somebody will be watching this video and they'll scroll down and look at the comments and they'll see your comments for advice. Maybe I can use the advice, even though I'm not currently dating, but maybe it's advice that I can use in the future.